Let's go!
You and God don't operate on the same clock.
Chris Hilton shattered the LSU A-dot record, and we'll talk about why this could actually be a not-so-great thing. And you'll see LSU combat this in the backfield where they're throwing the football short to Chris Hilton instead of deep. So stick with this till the end. We'll explain it all, and we'll also talk about a defensive tackle that's breaking out. Right now, this play right here is actually part 3 of a series we've been working on, which is basing the LSU run game out of counter. So make sure you check out part 1 and part 2. And here in part 3, we're going to talk about how many different things you can run out of counter. So if you're good at running counter to the left, as you can see, you got a right guard in Cohen Eccles pulling to the left. You have Weston Davis also pulling to the left. You have the fake handoff here to Caden Durham. So in theory, if you're actually playing a defense, they're going to think it's a run to the left, but you're actually throwing to the right. And you have a guy with speed, hopefully in the open field. We ran a lot of these kinds of plays with Malik Neighbors. It was more split zone types of action. And the next step for Chris Hilton, obviously outside of keeping your feet, is becoming a better player after the catch. I think LSU is going to want to manufacture touches. Can he be that deadly weapon with the football in his hands once he gets it in his hands? So obviously, this first-team wide receiver room has mostly stayed the same with Xavier Thomas, Chris Hilton, and Aaron Anderson. Right here, it's a little zoomed in. You'll see Aaron run a shallow drag. That is obviously his game as the slot option. So you have 2 verticals right there and a shallow drag completion to Aaron Anderson. And another thing that has been interesting as far as LSU spring football is concerned is that this offensive line has mostly stayed the same. Weston Davis at right tackle, Cohen Eccles at right guard, DJ Chester at center, and then your left guard is Paul Mabenga, who started a few games at the end of the year, and then Tyree Adams is there at left tackle. And we now go to the second-team offense, which is Caleb Jackson. You have the same play here, orbit motion, and this is Barian Brown. Now, this is the first time we have talked about number 56, Josh Thompson. He's playing right tackle with the second group. That's Bo Bordelon at right guard. 12, of course, is Kyle Parker. You have Bauer Sharp at tight end. And this backup offensive line is still being centered by number 61, Braylon Moore. And then at number 57, you have Carius Kern. And then 77, I believe, is, come on. Why am I drawing a blank? His name is on the screen right now. Okay, so let's take a look at this play in the background as well. And this is just a simple counter GY handoff to the right side. And there's Caden Durham getting vertical right there. Now, we are about to break down the single most important drill you will watch at any LSU spring practice. In the background, you see Kyle Williams and his former defensive lineman at Ruston High School in Ahmad Bro. And while they get lined up for this drill, I want to tell you about our friends at Fast Draft. Yes, sign up using our promo code Carter. You get a deposit match bonus up to $50. So you see some other defensive linemen, and the guy that we're going to focus on mostly is Sydir Mitchell, the transfer coming in from Texas. You have Sean Washington here, Jacobian Tank Guillory. I like the fact that he's still wearing his tracking catapult software right here. And this looks like 94 Zion Williams. Both sides of the football, LSU stunk at this very thing. On the offensive line side of things, they really struggled with combo blocks and passing off blocks and just getting movement up the middle. And on the defensive side of things, we struggled with gap integrity, holding up at the point of attack as teams were able to run the football right at us, basically, okay? So let's break down this rep. So what we're going to do is play this rep at full speed. Let's play it one more time here in the words of Daft Punk. That's a deep cut for you. Huh? 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 And I can't play the audio because Brad Davis used a naughty word. But this is true freshman Solomon Thomas alongside very experienced transfer Virginia Tech Braylon Moore. And here he is going up against Dominic McKinley, okay? The former five-star really came on towards the end of the last season. But overall, tenacity and physicality is something that he needs to work on, okay? Now, once again, there is flaws to this drill because in this drill, Braylon Moore is not actually snapping the ball, which is what he would be doing in an actual game. And then, there's so many other caveats here. You'll see that Brad Davis chews out Thomas here, and the reason why I believe he is doing this is because if I am as a left guard working alongside a smaller center, it is so important before you go to the second level of any block to make sure you lock in this double team. All right, but you'll see what happens here is Solomon Thomas does not help at all here. Now, it might not have been a double. It might have just been a one-on-one block altogether, but Brad Davis obviously was not happy with this. But where I want to talk about here is McKinley. This was not the best rep for him. Once again, there's going to be a lot of fast-forwarding and rewinding. You'll see at the snap, look at his head just go straight down. He's losing his eyes. He's not going to have a whole lot of leverage in this spot, and a very experienced center, Braylon Moore, is just going to take advantage of that, and that's exactly what he does. Now, McKinley's raw athleticism and size allows him to reposition and get back into this rep, but that could be a little bit cleaner. All right, I couldn't really find another camera angle here, but Sydir Mitchell, this was not his best rep. We'll take a look at some of his better reps pretty soon. Man, this honestly was really good by DJ Chester helping out Cohen Eccles, and Eccles was able to get him sealed right there, and you can see Mitchell was frustrated with him, okay? Let's go here. This is Bo Bordelon and Weston Davis. So both of these guys aren't the absolute biggest for an offensive line, but obviously, in particular, Davis, they're explosive athletes, and man, that is just gross. This is just downright filth. Let's slow this down. And yeah, I mean, this is just brutal. This is Sean Washington, who's been up and down as a player. He has some flashes of brilliance, and he just gets lifted. I mean, this is really good pad level. Good stuff right there. Weston Davis, that's what I like to see. That's a 5-star freaking recruit. And then you get to the second level. Obviously, that's as good as it's going to get. It's really good stuff. Now we get to here. This is kind of a push, if you ask me. Obviously, I believe the offensive line wins this rep. This is a good job by Paul Mabenga and Tyree Adams. This might be your starting left side of the offensive line. Mabenga works his way up. But you see right here, when it comes to footwork and athleticism, obviously Ahmad Bro is really nimble. He was an end initially and then a tackle convert. And this isn't the worst from him. It's not great either. It's just a really good job right there by the offensive line. Now we get to Dominic McKinley yet again. All right, man, this is a lot better. Remember a minute ago, this was not a good time for Solomon Thomas getting chewed out by Brad Davis. That is just gross. A good finish right there by Braylon Moore, and Dominic McKinley goes down to the turf. Once again, these are just drills. It's not like how it would actually be in a game, but it is something. All right, so remember, last time Mitchell did not like his rep versus these two. All right, this first-team center, DJ Chester, Cohen Eccles, first-team guard right now for LSU. This is really good stuff. All right, so he attacks the inside shoulder here of Cohen Eccles, and this obviously is just your typical double-team block. And the thing that I really like about it is he keeps his shoulder in there. We want you to be able to sit on a double team. In a perfect world, you just stalemate this line, and you just split it here. And if you see the running back bounce, you toss the offensive lineman to that side, and then you make the tackle. But the bottom line is we need you to sit heavy in this gap. That's as good as it gets. He swims off of it to try and make the play. Obviously, in a perfect world, once you get off of this, you want to be as flat on this line as you possibly can. and that would potentially be called as a hold. Once again, it's kind of hard for me to see if this is 94 or 96. And you get a double team right here. This is Ori Williams and Carius Kern. It's really good stuff, and Carius Kern's going to be a really good football player. I mean, I want you to see Kern's athleticism at play here. All right, in a perfect world, we don't, in a run-blocking situation, we don't want our offensive lineman to be vertical. We also don't want him to be too far this way. We want that body at that 45-degree angle. Look at that, man. That's really, really, really good stuff. These are the kinds of players that you have to get, man. These 5-star offensive linemen, they just are difference makers. Okay, so that is 94 Zion Williams. This is Dylan Battle, number 96. Let's see how this goes. Once again, a true freshman and a year 4 player. Man, that's good stuff. And Braylon Moore, once again, even though he's not the biggest guy, he's going to win pretty much every pad level battle. The dude is a Mighty Mouse center. So this is, I believe, Joey August, a walk-on defensive tackle. So we want our starting center and right guard to dominate this. They do that very thing. Obviously, you want to hold on to this block a little bit better, but still, not a bad get-off. Here's a guy that LSU is really hoping comes along. 73, Ethan Callaway, 4-star recruit in year 2. Good stuff. Once again, Sean Washington getting pushed out of that gap. It's just good stuff right there. Okay, so this is not bad right here from Zion Williams. Look at how low he's getting and still able to keep his feet, stalemating the line, making life difficult. That's not bad. It doesn't look too great. It's not the absolute best. It's not bad right there, especially from a true freshman. This drill heavily favors your offensive line. It just does. But, it also helps the defensive lineman as well because he knows more than likely a double is coming, okay? You get a dead ball snap here with the third-team center. Let's see what happens. All right. Ahmad Bro, you would like to see him win this matchup. And there we go. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Really, really, really good stuff holding up right there. So in the background, you'll see a few more of these reps. That was a good job by Carius Kern against Dominic McKinley. So on these double teams, you want the offensive line winning these reps. Here's Sean Washington. Again, he's had a tough go at it, and that wasn't the worst there, but it wasn't great either. Let's see Sydir Mitchell one more time. And this is a walk-on, and this is Paul Mabenga. Oh, man, that's just gross. First off, the walk-on doesn't help. If there was supposed to be a double, this could have helped out Mabenga. Mabenga is also normally playing left guard compared to right guard, but still, that's just, sometimes it's just simple physics, right? This is a 340-plus pound man coming in from Texas. We have been hyping Mitchell up some. And yes, the Texas production wasn't the absolute best, but their defensive tackle room was deep. So it is something, right? Now, I want to share one final Chris Hilton stat, and it is interesting because the beginning of the video was important because the route that you saw him catch was a route where there was a negative ADOT, which stands for average depth of target. Now, why is that relevant? Well, Chris Hilton had the highest ADOT of any LSU wide receiver ever last year with a minimum of 20 targets. Bam. So ADOT is, once again, average depth of target. That was another good Sydir Mitchell rep. In the background, once again, not going up against the absolute best, but still. What average depth of target means is how deep you were in a route when the ball was actually thrown your way. So as many of you know, we threw a lot of deep passes to Chris Hilton, and we really didn't connect on him until the final 2 games of the season. So is having a high ADOT actually a good thing? Well, yes and no, but an ADOT of 26.7 is just not good because that means you're only using a player as a deep passing option, and teams will begin to figure that out, which is why LSU is going to work in Chris Hilton with more intermediate stuff. So earlier in the game, he had a 40-plus yard touchdown, so it was a deep throw from Garrett Nussmeier to Chris Hilton, and that's going to be a very high ADOT throw. The Chris Hilton's depth on that target was indeed very deep. But on this play, this was essentially the only Chris Hilton yak play that we've had. All right, so this is a line of scrimmage. This is where Chris Hilton was when the ball was thrown, essentially right here. So the average depth of target here is actually only 3 or 4, but because Garrett made a really good throw, hit him right in the chest, we were able to get some yak. Chris Hilton's yak hasn't been all that great. Some of it is because it's just not really his game. He's just a deep guy. But a lot of it also is that we haven't really tried to use him in this way either. So LSU, like you saw earlier, they want to see if they can get his speed and use him as a yak guy next season, because you want to mix up the types of targets you give players, or else teams will just out-scout you and just immediately know what you're doing every time with a potential number one option. So let me know what you guys think down below, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! And tonight we are doing steaks. Let's go.